Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Keeping It Unfiltered. Today, we are talking about how to keep the boundaries between you and your family members. Um, Before I get started, I just want to say, make sure that you are subscribed to Keeping It Unfiltered. If you're watching this video and you're not subscribed, what exactly are you doing? Let's get with the program, okay? And I also would like to thank all of you guys who are already subscribed today. All right, let's jump into the video. Now, to start off with how to keep the boundary with you and your family, I want to have a little vent session real quick. Why do y'all tell y'all family members everything? This is a way that you break the boundary with your family members. And I say that because when you just like your first interaction, especially with your partner, this is what I see a lot of people do. They will run to their family members and tell them, like, oh, X, Y, and Z did this to me. And then you're mad that they no longer like your partner. Here's a huge tip. If you feel like you're going to be with your partner at the end of the day, maybe it's not best that you tell them what exactly your partner did. Now, a lot of times, especially when it comes to abuse, I can't say the word on YouTube, when it comes to abuse or when it comes to disrespecting you or just making you look dumb, maybe it could be like cheating, outwardly cheating, even inward cheating is out of pocket, but just cheating altogether. Or if they feel like you're not getting treated as your worth, I feel like it's good that your parents or family members are jumping in there and letting you know, like, we see how this person is treating you and that's not cool at all, and we would like you to get out that situation respectfully. Now, there are those catty situations. It doesn't even have to be with a partner. It can be with a friend where you and a friend just got into a disagreement and you know that your friend might have been having an off day. You might have been having an off day. Y'all went at it. Y'all are disrespecting each other, calling each other out each other's names on both sides. And then you go to your parents and you tell them that one side. I know a lot of people know what I'm talking about. That's even in other situations too. Like, you're always telling what the other person did, but not telling what you did. Either way, both of y'all are wrong. But if you don't want your family members to develop, some type of, I don't even want to say hatred, but some type of judgment or get this outlook on your friend, partner, associate, whomever, maybe you should just keep it to yourself. Especially when you know it was the both of y'all who did something. Like, that might not be the brightest idea if you're going to keep them around anyways. That right there, I feel like, is the biggest one, the most obvious one, where people are letting their families in their business and they shouldn't even be in their business, because sometimes the family members get overly involved. My parents, on the other hand, my family, on the other hand, I'm not saying that they'll never fight for me if I need them to fight for me. I definitely think that they would. And vice versa. I'm not even out here doing all of that. But, if my family need me, then they need me. You know what I mean? That's why you shouldn't sit there, get them all involved, get them all worked up, and then you got them out here swinging. We got those family members that be on go all the time. Like, I know which family members not to tell certain situations to till it's over and done with, because I know they just go on a, knuck and buck, all that. So it's like, you don't want to sit there and get your family involved and they take it out their own way to sit there and want to fight for you all the time. Whole time, you about to be back in that person's face. That's crazy to me. Just keep your family out of it at that point. We got some of the family members that just do too much on their own. This is me personally. And I must say, like, this conversation is for people who want to keep the boundaries up. Some of y'all have no issue with your mom, your family members calling up your partner, your ex-partner, yelling at them, cursing at them when they see them, disrespecting them. Me, on the other hand, I do have an issue with that. I think there was one time where my mom has ever stepped in on my relationship and it was literally that serious. Like when she needed to do that. Like besides that, I didn't have my mom step in on my relationship at any given time. They might have had conversations on their own face to face, but it was very respectful. And I get why some parents get out of line and want to curse out your partner, especially if they're doing those things to you, or your friends that are doing those things to you that I mentioned in the beginning where it's disrespectful. Point blank period. I get why they get worked up. The issue is letting your parent do all of that, or your parent doing all that, knowing darn well at the end of the day you about to be back with that person. Now you got this family feud. Now you got this friend and family feud. Like, or your partner knows, or your family knows everything about your partner. And now you feel some type of way that they're looking at you some type of way for still being with them. I think that there's room to make these mistakes because sometimes you may feel yourself that you're done. You're like, oh no, absolutely not. Like, I'm done. I don't want to deal with this. But babe, after like the 15th time, and yes, there are some people that have those 15 times, just keep it to yourself. After the 5th time, you probably should keep it to yourself. Some people really know in their heart that they're not going to leave their friendship, and they know in their heart they're not going to leave their partner. So as I mentioned, like, you can't go to your family members pouring out how you feel about this person, how mad you are. Now, if you're just venting like, oh my gosh, I'm so mad because my friend or my partner did X, Y, and Z, I understand that. Like, it's petty stuff. Nothing that divides your friendship. Maybe they just may tell you, oh, maybe you should take a step back on their friendship, or say like, that's weird, or if you need some type of approach method from your family, I think that's cool. But if you know they're going to be ready to be on go whenever you tell them what you tell them, or that they can't even keep their mouth shut and keep it respectful when they come around your family or friend, you probably shouldn't say anything to them. Moving on to the next thing. This is one that I feel like people don't think about enough for me. Respect. You should not be treating your family members the way you treat the people off the street. If it gets there because y'all had a nasty argument and they decide to cut out their mouth first, then you cut out your mouth, then it's a back and forth. I get it. Personally, like, I'll be honest, I have not experienced that with my family members. So I can understand though, like, I don't even like when somebody called me. No, actually I did go. Actually, I did get into something with one of my family members, 2 of them actually, where they came out their mouth crazy. And in those situations, maybe I'm just overly nice because I understand why, maybe one of my friends or one of my other family members would have reacted a different way. And I ain't mad at it, to be honest. The way I just look at family, I just have such high respect for my family members to where I'm like, if I even curse at you, whether you're my age, around my age, depending on the relationship, all that, if I even curse at you, I feel like I'm jumping out my character because I don't even like to do all that. So if you got me cursing at you in an argument, I'm not saying, oh, it's the big bad wolf, but that just really mean like you really made me angry and you really made me jump out of character. So I feel like once I take it to that point, that was me kind of getting disrespectful, but I felt I had the right to, and I can see how other people feel the need to get disrespectful. What I can't see, or what I try not, wish we could all avoid because they are our family members, is putting our hands on our family members. Like, even when I got into those heated arguments, I'm not going to act like me and my younger sister especially didn't get into it here and there. The petty little fights. But, like, I just couldn't even fight her. Well, one, we have a huge age gap. So, that's probably a big part. Like, she's 17. I'm 23. I just can't see me, like, really hitting my sister. Like, punching her upside her head or, getting into it with any of my other family members where I want to sit there and put my hands on them. And even when I did get into a heated argument with one of my family members like that, and I really wanted to put my hands on them, like, y'all, I really did. I just couldn't because that was my family. Like, I just was like, as angry as I am, I really don't want to put my hands on you. Like, I just don't feel like we should be having physical altercations as family members. I feel like that's a boundary because if you know that you can get to that point, sometimes you can't help it. But I know some people that get into it with their family members all the time. I feel if you know how you and your family member can get by arguing, maybe you should just take a step back. I know some people that will go back and forth with their mom and be cursing at their mom and like get hot with their mom. My mom make me mad. As much as I love her, she can piss me off sometimes. And because I respect her so much as being my mother, I just take a step back. Or I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to say nothing. Because that's my mom. Same with my dad. You know, sometimes we want to sit there and nip it in the bud, but like, I'm really just trying to think, have I ever cursed at my dad as mad as he might have gotten me? Because they're parents at the end of the day. They do a lot of things. No. Even when I feel like family members are crossing a line, because family members are very nosy. I don't get frustrated with them. I just probably curve the question or just walk away. I feel like we need to bring that type of respect back. It's too many times where people are really fist fighting with their family members, or instead of approaching them about the situation or something that they did to them, they're outright disrespecting them. It could be talking behind their back. It can even be throwing shots at them on social media. Like, this is your family at the end of the day. Let's not. And the older we get, the more this should not be happening. Before I get into this next one, I would just like to say I love my family so much. Please, nobody take offense, okay? Do not take offense to this at all. Another boundary we have to be careful for is protecting your space, yo. I personally am not trying to avoid energies from my family in my house. Like, I don't have my family over my house all the time. Some people, they do that. It's not because of their energy. I feel like my family brings great energy. I'm blessed to have that in my life. So I get why some people feel like, you know, oh, I gotta have them over. But if you feel like the energy is off, the vibe is off, you do not have to have them over your house. Please don't feel forced to put up with anybody's energy inside your personal space. Your apartment, your car, yep, it goes there. Even going to a restaurant with them. Like, you don't have to put up with whatever they're putting out. If you feel like they got nasty energy and you're not in the mood for them, you don't have to have an event every weekend and things like that. That's one way to keep the peace, by making sure you don't have any negative energy in the atmosphere. Another way to keep the peace is you just really need time to yourself. And I know a lot of people gonna say, Monet, you always do have time to yourself. You live by yourself. I get what y'all think, but y'all don't know what I go through mentally on a daily basis. Like, when I go through things, and my mom probably don't like this, but I don't tell them stuff all the time. And I like to deal with those things by myself. I may need those couple days, couple weeks, even if it's a couple months where I just don't want to be around anybody because I'm trying to figure out what I need to figure out. If I feel like I'm well capable of handling those things on my own, I don't need to involve any of my family members. Sometimes telling your family members what you're going through can make it worse. I am the one to tell you that. I'm not going to tell you what particular family members I had, but I just feel like me going through the things on my own, figuring things out on my own, or running to the resources I feel like I need to run to, that helps me get through my situations. Not always telling my family members what's going on, exactly when it's going on, could be a way of protecting my space. If you know that your energy is going to be off, forget just your family energy coming into the house. Your energy is going to be off because you're going through what you're going through. That's another reason why you need to keep the boundary up with your family members. When you're going through your season, or you just know you don't want to be bothered. Like, I feel like people don't normalize not wanting to be bothered. I'm that person. I don't want to be bothered. I feel like relationships are completely different. Like intimate relationships are different than families. Right now I'm single. But I feel like intimate relationships are different than family members, to where you probably could be around your partner. You could talk to your partner, or your partner and you have that understanding where it's like, I'm going through this. I just need you to be here for me right now. I don't want to talk about it every day. I don't want you getting on me about it every day. I just would like to go through my season, and you sitting right next to me is good enough. Where your family members may sit there and be like, okay, what are you doing? Okay, what needs to be done? Okay, what's bothering you? Okay, what is it? Like, how can we help? And there might not even be a way that they can help. There's been many times where I've been through these seasons. I recently just got through a season, honestly, where I didn't say anything to anyone besides my best friend. Y'all know how I feel about Kira. But I didn't say anything to anybody. Still to this day, nobody knows. And I'll get to that in a later date. But I'm just opened up to my parents about it. And it's like, no offense to them, love them, but they gave the parent response. I didn't need the parent response when I was originally going through it. I needed to get through that on my own, and then I'll let you know when I finish it, because I know that I can have that breakthrough, if that makes sense. Or I know that I'm gonna put the work in that I need to put the work in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna grind it out. I'm gonna find a way to get myself out that season. So it's things like that that goes on to where you might just need to handle things yourself. So you got to really protect your space, whether it's them coming with the negative energy, whether your energy is going to be off, or whether you just need to figure out things yourself. Another boundary is going out with your family members. I have a cousin. I have a couple cousins actually around my age that I would definitely go out with because they're around my age. You don't have to party with all your family members. Some people do it. Like I said, this conversation is for people who would like to create the boundary. If you don't mind it, I'm not talking to you. Me personally, I am not partying with my mother. I'm not doing that. I'm not partying with my aunts unless it's literally an occasion where, now I'm getting older, where it's like, okay, they're having a party, they're having a cookout, I may have a drink or so. I'm not partying around my family members. I say that because me personally, like I said, it's just like, I don't want to put my mom age out here. My mom she older than me. Let me say that. My family members are all older than me, pretty older than me. I got an aunt that's like, not too far off, maybe like 10, 15 years, I think, if that. I'm talking about the people who have slipped up, went out with their family members, have done something, and they literally report back to the family. And now everybody know your business. Everybody know what you was doing when you had one too many shots. If you don't want all your family knowing your business, you probably shouldn't party with certain family members. Or like, if you know you're not going to feel comfortable getting loose, like me personally, I know that I'm not going to feel comfortable getting loose. So I'm not going to do that around my family members. Like, I'm not about to sit there and do all that drinking and stuff like that. Like, I drink occasionally anyway, so I'm a lightweight. So on top of that, no, I should not be doing all that with my family members. Another boundary that we need to have is telling everybody your next move. Let me just talk specific to family because y'all know how I feel about it anyway. But telling your family your next move. If you don't want nobody over your head or to keep asking about that opportunity, it's already hard enough for like college. They're going to ask every time. Like if you're in college or in school, point blank period, or you started a new job, you're in a new job, they're going to ask. You don't want them in your business, then you probably shouldn't sit there and tell them like, yeah, I'm going up for this new job. Yeah, I'm studying for this or that. Because they're going to ask you over and over again. And we could only be so mad because they're just being family. They're just wondering what your status is on whatever you're supposed to be doing. So just keep at it. Just keep going at it. Do it behind closed doors. So that way you don't got somebody in your ear all the time. I'm one of them family members, honestly. Like, if my cousin, my younger cousin, or anybody, I mean, oh, I'm working towards getting a house. I'm working towards taking this up in college. I'm working towards going to this school, doing this program. I'm an ex. But it's all love, though. Some people ask to be nosy, but like I'm really asking out of love and just seeing like what's going on, you know? And if you know that you're gonna, I was about to use a different word. If you know that you're gonna change your mind about it, then maybe you should not speak on it. Just keep it to yourself until you know you really want to do it. Or just tell that family member that you're closest to. That's another thing. Like, I have conversations with my close family members. It might be because of age. It might just because we just always been that tight. I know that you're not about to run your mouth to the whole entire family. So, yeah, talk about it to them. But don't tell all the aunts and uncles and stuff. Even your mom. If you feel like your mom is the type to spread the word, or your dad, don't tell them either. Your guardian in general. Uh, this topic is a little touchy, but I gotta get into it. Another boundary you should have with your family. I think that this is good to practice overall, but especially with your family members, is letting whatever grudge you have against them go. For example, if you feel like your mom didn't teach you enough growing up, as far as like maybe she didn't practice cooking and cleaning around you, right? So you feel like now you have to teach yourself how to cook and clean. And you feel like that's holding you back from getting to a new relationship. Now you have to sit here and teach yourself. I get why you'll be frustrated, and I think that you have the right to be frustrated. But once we hit the age of 21, 22, I think you should let that go. These things that I'm talking about that you form from your parents start at a very early age. Um, yeah, I know it's touchy. It's hard to really talk about it. These things that I'm talking about form at a very early age. So a lot of times I think I see it start happening where people reflect on the way their parents are treating them and the things that they do. I've done it myself, where I think I was like 15 when I started realizing like, oh, well, I wish I would have known this. I wish I would have known that, you know, but my parents did not sit there and teach me that. And this is something that I had to learn for myself. And that would get you worked up, angry towards them, feeling like they should have done more in that aspect. Um, a lot of the times it could just be, well, they only teaching you what they know themselves. I'm not giving anybody excuses because there's forgiveness in other areas too. I'm not going to go deep into it, but just forgiving even your dad for not being there, your mom for not being there. And I hate to say it because it's not what I want to make clear. I'm not excusing your feelings. I'm not saying that you're not allowed to feel the way you did. It can even be another family member that you feel like should have been more in your life. Your grandparents, even. That's a whole nother conversation for another day. But your grandparents weren't really in your life. And you're holding this grudge against them because you feel like they should have done more. Because they are your family, forgive them. Friends are different. When they do something to you and you feel like they should have done more, it's just like, okay, like, but at the end of the day, it is what it is because you are my friend. Some people think like that. I personally think like that. I put friends and family on a different pedestal. This part is not for you if you don't see the difference because I see a clear difference. When they do these things to you, you have to forgive them for yourself. You don't see it, but it will eat you up so much inside that it might even change the way you act, the way you are towards people. It may be a valuable excuse to why you have an outlook on certain things, but at the same time, you don't want that to turn you into being bitter. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that because they feel like, no, this person was out of my life. This person didn't do XYZ in my life, so I should be able to act the way I want. But at the same time, don't let them win like that. A lot of times these family members regret what they did, and instead of owning up to it and apologizing, they may do little things like, they'll be there for you, of course, but they just don't even know where to start, if that makes sense. They may feel bad for what they did, and that might not be enough for you. And I get it. That's why I'm like, forgive them strictly for yourself, because you don't want to sit here and have to reap on everything that they did and continue to have this hurt build up inside of you. Speaking from my own personal experience, I just forgave. A lot of them are stuck in their ways. They're not going to change. Don't matter how old they get. You got to remember, they already got some years on you. They've been living in this world and they've been acting their way ever since, for the past 30 years. So like, they're not going to change at all. It's not your responsibility to try to change them either. Voice your opinion. Let them know how you feel. But at the end of the day, don't sit there and try to waste your time trying to change them. And don't get mad because they won't change. And, before I say that, be mad, be upset, yes. But don't let that affect the rest of your life. It's hard. It is hard. And the reason why this is considered a boundary is because we let these family members get to us so bad that they change our personality. Or they make us have this outlook forever. And now we look at everybody the same exact way, or we're treating people the same way because they're like, no, you abandoned me, so everybody in the world is going to abandon me. That's not an easy thing to overturn in your head, but you had to really look at, that was on you. I didn't do anything to make you act like that, but that's just a personal issue you have with yourself. You should have done more. It's one thing to not respect how they treated you, but I think that you should keep the respect up. And like I said, if you're not ready to open up your heart and forgive your family members, that's completely fine. I think that it's best for you to do so that way you're able to move on in life and drop all the hatred towards them, the anger towards them. Like I said, strictly for yourself. It's not even sit there to open up a new door for them to come in your life. Because honestly, you can forgive them and not even speak to them. Me, on the other hand, when I had to forgive a family member for how I feel they were acting, or family members for how they were acting and stuff, when they decided to finally apologize, or I seen them start to come around, because they are my family, I forgave them. I did. And the thing is, before I even got to that point with them, I already forgave them a long time ago. Because I'm like, if I hold this thing in my heart, this anger, this bitterness, I'm just going to start to think that because you're so close to me and you treated me that way, that anybody can treat me that way. And I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to sit there and act the way I do towards others because of what you did. You're not damaged, okay? Don't let nobody tell you you're damaged. You've probably been through something and it hurt and it got to you and it made you upset. Your feelings are valid. But don't let what they did damage you. To be honest, I let how one of my family members treat me leak into my relationship. It took us both some time to come a full circle and realize like what exactly was going on. But by that time, in my opinion, it was too late. Like, everything already happened. The damage was already done to that season of my relationship. And on top of that, the damage was done to me. But you're not in a relationship with that person. You're not friends with that person. You're not best friends with that person to where you need to be treating your partner or your friends the way they treated you. Or as if they're going to leave you every 5 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's definitely a hard thing to think about, a hard thing to overcome. But I feel like we all need to think about these things and figure out how can we move forward, push forward, because at the end of the day, we're not going to let them win. Regardless if they verbally apologize or not, stand on your own 2 feet and be like, listen, you did what you did. I forgive you. Not even for you, but for myself and because God says so. That was that for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you to everyone who's already joined the Keeping It Unfiltered community. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram. It'll be listed below where you'll see all the topics for next week. And yeah, see you next Thursday.